It's time for the latest in the world of K-sports. So with Korean athletes' growing presence on the global stage, though, be it baseball, football, or golf, we've got a lot of sports news happening overseas to talk about today. And for that, we're joined by our sportscaster, Jason Lee, in the studio. Hello, Jason. Happy Friday.
Hello, hello, Bella.
So, Jason, let's start with Korea's biggest athletes abroad. We're going to start off with baseball and Ejong Hu, because he's been red hot lately.
Oh, talk about it. Absolutely. Ejong Hu has homered in back-to-back games, including number 6 on the season most recently. Ejong Hu's, never really been known as a power guy. I think even in Korea, his career high for home runs was 23. That was back in 2022, his last KBO season. And then, he's hitting now basically on pace to hit 20 home runs in the majors. So he is off to a great start. It's really showing that he's playing more comfortably. He's got more confidence going with him. I think the fans are certainly embracing him as well. And he's even been mentioned in possible all-star game talk and maybe even MVP votes by the end of the season, now that we're a quarter of the way through the season.
Right, and I think also one of his achievements earlier this week, the 3-run home run, was on day of Korean Heritage Night. And I think that's happening with baseball in the US and MLB. They're kind of acknowledging Korean culture.
Absolutely. And, a lot of baseball teams actually do this. Ejong Hu didn't play for the Giants until last season, but they've actually had Korean Heritage Night for the last decade. So they've actually done this even when they didn't have Koreans on the team. Now that they do, obviously, it's great for him. He was sad that he couldn't be in the game last year when they celebrated it because he was injured. But being in the game this year, I think he wanted to hit a home run for them. So being able to do something that you set out to do, obviously, it shows, where his streak is at in terms of his abilities. And obviously the fans were all rewarded because there were a lot of Koreans on hand to watch that.
Right. Very meaningful.
And Ejong is doing great. Another MLB player that is playing right now is Kim Hye-Seong. And previously, Jason, you did say that Kim Hye-Seong would likely join the Dodgers again in late April, maybe early May. And indeed, that's actually really happened. So what's going on with him? How's he doing?
As hot as Ejong Hu has been lately, Kim Hye-Seong might be even hotter. I don't know if that's even possible, but, it took a couple of injuries for Kim Hye-Seong to get the call up, specifically to Tommy Edman, who, by the way, is actually half Korean. He played for Korea in the World Baseball Classic. But anyways, Kim Hye-Seong got called up to the Dodgers just after we spoke a couple of weeks ago on May the 3rd. Now, since then, he has been on fire. He just hit his first Major League home run yesterday. He was 2 for 2 in that game. And then today, this morning, just a couple of hours ago, he finished 3 for 3 with a double, a stolen base, 3 runs scored. He is just having a huge last week. Wow. And he's now started in 8 games. Of the 8 games that he has started, he's had hits in 7 of those games. And 4 of those games, he's had multi-hit games. His batting average right now, .429. Obviously, best in the team. It's a small sample size. His OPS is over 1,000. He is doing ridiculously good so far. When Tommy Edman eventually is healthy, they might have to just keep Kim Hye-Seong in the lineup. We'll see what happens.
Looking forward to his action in the coming weeks and months. Now, Jason, continuing with Korean athletes abroad, but we're going to move over to football and to Europe. Son Heung-min is finally back in action.
Yes, he is indeed. Finally, as you mentioned. He didn't start, but he did sub in for Tottenham's 2-0 loss to Crystal Palace last weekend. Son entered the game in the 58th minute with his side already down 2-0. And it's been a tough season for both Son and Tottenham. They're now in 17th place out of the 20 teams. And of course, teams 18, 19, and 20, they get relegated down to the English League Championship. The good news is that there's no chance of that actually happening because the bottom three teams are actually a good 16 points below Tottenham at 17, and there's only 2 games left. So Tottenham will likely finish the season at 17, 15, 16, something around that with 2 games remaining. They play Aston Villa tomorrow morning, so we'll see how much Son Heung-min plays in that game, hopefully a little bit more than he did last weekend.
Well, it's great to see him having recovered from his injury. But Jason, Son Heung-min has also been in the news lately regarding a blackmailing case. What's that about?
Okay, so this just broke yesterday. So it's too early to really jump to conclusions of any sort, but basically a woman in her 20s, a man in his 40s were apprehended this week after Son Heung-min filed a complaint that they were trying to extort money from him, threatening to defame him if he didn't comply. So we'll see if anything more comes of this, but my guess is that it's going to blow over pretty quickly. It's just kind of the news of the day for the moment. But yeah, I don't expect anything major to come of this long term.
Let's hope so. I mean, those are the downsides of being a celebrity athlete.
People trying to take advantage of your fame.
And another soccer player we want to talk about that's playing abroad right now is Lee Kang-In. And, you know, he's basically been benched by PSG with his team now in the Champions League finals. But the team that they actually beat are related to Lee Kang-In, I heard. What's going on with that?
That's right. Lee Kang-in's team, Paris Saint-Germain, they beat Arsenal in the semi-final leg 2-1 last weekend to advance on aggregates to the Champions League final. This is huge, okay, to get to the Champions League final for any Korean. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, for Lee Kang-in, he hasn't been playing. He didn't play the most recent game or the previous leg of the semi-final. So interestingly, however, the team that they beat in the semifinal was Arsenal, and there's been a lot of rumors that Arsenal is very, very interested in Lee Kang-in with the summer transfer window coming up. Interestingly, they were actually interested in him in the winter as well, but nothing actually came of that. The reason for this connection is because Arsenal's sporting director, Andrea Berta, tried to sign Lee Kang-in before, back when he was with Atletico Madrid and Lee Kang-in was playing for Mallorca in La Liga. So now that Lee Kang-in hasn't been seeing a lot of playing time as of late, there's been rumors that he's disgruntled and that he might welcome a transfer to a team that wants his services more, that would, play him more often. And it seems like Arsenal is feeling that way. So perhaps I think there's a good chance that he might enter the transfer window this summer.
We'll see how that goes. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Keep us updated.
And yesterday was actually Teachers' Day, and I noticed that Lee Kang-in, he on that occasion mentioned late coach Yoo Sang-chul, who trained Lee Kang-in when he was just a 슛돌이. I don't know if you guys watched that back then,
TV
which
show, right?
yes, which was an entertainment program where Lee Kang-in was still a kid and was trained for football. Well, let's see what the future holds for him. And now we're going to move on to golf. Korea already has a 3rd win on the LPGA Tour this year, and this thanks to Ryu Hae-ran.
Absolutely. And of course, Koreans won just 3 events all of last year. That was a 13-year low, but thanks to Ryu Hae-ran, she shot a final round 8 under 64. She blew away the field with a 5-stroke victory at the Black Desert Championship in Utah. 9 other Koreans, by the way, finished in the top 40. So Korea very well represented, 25% of the top 40 in the tournament. And I should also mention that Kim Hye-Seong, who was one of the winners among the Koreans this year, she's got one of those 3 wins, and she went on to win the Ladies European Tour event, which was held in Korea last weekend. She actually defended her title as she finished 7 under through 3 rounds of the event. That was in Goyang, just north of Seoul, but congratulations to her. So a couple of victories for her, one on the LPGA Tour and another in the European Ladies Tour as well.
Well, congrats to you. And just before I let you go, Jason, a quick update on domestic sports news as well. What's the KBO looking like? What are the big stories right now?
Yeah, the KBO, we're basically a quarter of the way through the season now. The LG Twins are still in first place as they're riding a 6-game winning streak. Hanwha was actually in first place for a bit, but LG's streak put them back on top while the Eagles are currently in a 3-game skid. And I would definitely say that this is one of the biggest stories in terms of Hanwha's rise. I mean, they have been the league doormats for so many years. Making the playoffs last 2018, and they had a 10-year playoff drought before that one playoff appearance. And many of those years, they were actually finishing last place out of the 10 teams or last out of the 8 teams when they had 8 teams. So they've been so bad for so long, but the fact that they've been in first for a bit this late in the season, they're still in second place right now, just 2 games behind LG. I'm sure fans in Daejeon who cheer for Hanwha are very, very jubilant right now.
I've seen some stories on SNS, Hanwha fans definitely posting, stories on saying like, yes, it's history. Very excited.
They've been going crazy. By the way, Cody Ponce, their ace as of late, he's 7-0 in the season, the league's best ERA at 1.68. He was named Player of the Month for April, so he's really been leading the charge for the team. And as you mentioned, all the fans have got to been going nuts right now.
They're crazy.
It's very interesting to see this shift happening.
Yeah, that's what we like. We like to see parity in sports.
Right.
Everyone have a chance to win.
Right, of course. Well, thank you very much, Jason, for those updates, and we're going to see you back soon.
Yep.
Thank you, Jason.
No problem.
And thank you, Bella, as always. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, I'll see you back next week.